All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Vaibhav Srivastav. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says centre and all state governments together make continuous efforts to ensure maximum people get vaccinated at rapid pace. Government fighting COVID-19 with all its might, assures Prime Minister. Over 18 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Country's cumulative recoveries exceed 2 crore mark. Nearly 7,900 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by railways to various states in last 20 days. Government expands free distribution drive of Ayush 64 medicine to 25 locations in Delhi. India and United States agree to work towards increasing COVID-19 vaccine availability and saving lives. Monsoon likely to arrive over Kerala on 31st of this month. Deep depression over the Arabian Sea likely to further intensify into severe cyclonic storm in next 24 hours. In tennis, Rafael Nadal to face Riley Opelka in men's singles semi-finals of Italian Open today. In women's singles, Karolina Pliskova to take on Petra Martic for a place in the finals. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, follow all the precautions, and all those above 44 years who've taken the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to get vaccinated with the second dose at the scheduled time. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured that the country will overcome the challenge of the corona pandemic with its strength and dedication. He asserted that India is not a nation that will lose hope in tough times. He was speaking at a virtual event after releasing the 8th installment of financial benefit under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi PM Kisan scheme to over 9 crore 50 lakh farmers in the country. Mr. Modi said that farmers have shown their grit in serving the nation even during the testing times of COVID-19.
इस संकट के समय में दवाइयां और जरूरी वस्तुओं की जमाखोरी और कालाबाजारी में भी कुछ लोग अपने निहित स्वार्थ के कारण लगे हुए हैं। मैं राज्य सरकारों से आग्रह करूंगा कि ऐसे लोगों पर कठोर से कठोर कार्रवाई की जाए। ये मानवता के खिलाफ का कृत्य है। भारत हिम्मत हारने वाला देश नहीं है। न भारत हिम्मत हारेगा और न कोई भारतवासी हिम्मत हारेंगे। हम लड़ेंगे और जीतेंगे।
Mr. Modi said the PM Kisan scheme has proven to be very beneficial for the marginal farmers in the country. Talking about the COVID pandemic, the Prime Minister said a large number of cases is being reported from the rural areas as well. He urged the village panchayats to ensure proper awareness and sanitation in their respective areas. On the occasion, Mr. Modi called upon the state governments to ensure strict laws to counter black marketing of medicines and medical supplies.
साइंटिस्ट हर कोई दिन रात कोविड की चुनौती का मुकाबला करने में एकजुट है। देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में तेजी के साथ कोविड अस्पताल बन रहे हैं। नई टेक्नोलॉजी से ऑक्सीजन प्लांट लगाए जा रहे हैं। हमारी तीनों सेनाएं, वायुसेना, नेवी, आर्मी, सभी पूरी शक्ति से एक काम में जुटे हैं। ऑक्सीजन रेल इसने कोरोना के खिलाफ इस लड़ाई को बहुत बड़ी ताकत दी है।
Assuring everyone about the government's resolve towards fighting COVID-19 with all its might, the Prime Minister said that he shares the feelings of the countrymen at every loss of life reported in the country.
केंद्र सरकार और सारी राज्य सरकारें मिलकर ये निरंतर प्रयास कर रही हैं कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा देशवासियों को तेजी से टीका लग पाए। देश भर में अभी तक करीब 18 करोड़ वैक्सीन डोज दी जा चुकी है। देश भर के सरकारी अस्पतालों में मुफ्त टीकाकरण किया जा रहा है। इसलिए जब भी आपकी बारी आए तो टीका जरूर लगवाएगा। ये टीका हमें कोरोना के विरुद्ध सुरक्षा कवच देगा, गंभीर बीमारी की आशंका को कम करेगा।
India has crossed a major landmark by administering more than 18 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. These include over 96,27,000 healthcare workers who've taken the first dose and more than 66 lakh healthcare workers who've taken the second dose. Over 1 crore 43 lakh frontline workers have taken the first dose and more than 81 lakh frontline workers have taken the second dose. The Union Health Ministry said over 10,79,000 beneficiaries were inoculated with COVID-19 vaccine doses till 8 p.m. yesterday. In the last 24 hours, over 3,44,000 people have recovered from COVID-19 infection, taking the recovery rate to 83.5%. In the same period, over 3,43,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported. There are over 37 lakh active cases in the country. Till now, over 2,79,000 people have recovered from the infection. 4,000 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, and the death toll due to the coronavirus pandemic has reached 2,62,317.
The railways have delivered nearly 7,900 tons of liquid medical oxygen to various states across the country in the last 20 days. The Railway Ministry said oxygen expresses have been delivering nearly 800 tons of liquid medical oxygen to the nation each day for the last few days. The first oxygen express for Andhra Pradesh with 40 tons and Kerala with 118 tons of oxygen are on the way. The ministry said first oxygen express to Tamil Nadu delivered 80 tons this morning and the second oxygen express is on the way. 130 oxygen expresses have completed their journey so far and brought relief to various states. The Railways has so far delivered 462 tons of liquid medical oxygen to Maharashtra, 2,210 tons to Uttar Pradesh, 408 tons to Madhya Pradesh, 2,934 tons to Delhi, 1,228 tons to Haryana, 308 tons to Telangana, 72 tons to Rajasthan, 120 tons in Karnataka, 80 tons each to Uttarakhand and Tamil Nadu. The government has termed as baseless the media reports suggesting that Make in India ventilators in the Aurangabad district of Maharashtra were not functioning optimally. It said these reports are incorrect and not supported by full information on the matter. In a statement, the Health Ministry said the ventilators were available in very limited numbers in government hospitals across the country at the beginning of the pandemic last year. The government has said that free distribution drive of Ayush 64 medicines has reached to more than 20 states and expanding on a continuous basis. The Ayush Ministry has said those COVID-19 patients who are in home isolation or staying at some government and NGO-arranged isolation centers are benefiting from this initiative. The free distribution drive has expanded to 25 locations in Delhi. The ministry said its main collaborator in the campaign, Seva Bharti, started distributing Ayush 64 at 17 locations in Delhi from yesterday, and in the next 2 days the number is expected to cross 30. The All India Institute of Ayurveda has opened its free distribution counter 24/7. Two more Ayush institutions, the Central Research Institute of Yoga and Naturopathy in Rohini and Dr. D.P. Rastogi Central Research Institute of Homeopathy in Noida, have also started distributing Ayush 64 to asymptomatic, mild and moderate out-of-hospital COVID-19 patients. The ministry began free distribution of these medicines through its 7 centers in Delhi on last Saturday.
Gujarat recorded 9,995 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. Our Ahmedabad correspondent reports that new cases dropped below the 10,000 mark for the first time after 27 days.
More than 6 lakh patients have been recovered from COVID-19 in Gujarat till now. Out of these, 15,365 patients recovered yesterday. The recovery rate further improved and reached up to 82.82%. Maximum 2,764 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Vadodara reported 639 new cases. 104 patients lost their lives yesterday. With this, the death toll due to COVID-19 in the state has reached up to 8,944. Gujarat has now 1,17,373 active cases at present, out of which 786 patients are on ventilator. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Chhattisgarh, with the improvement in COVID-19 situation, the test positivity rate in the state has come down to around 12%. The number of COVID tests has increased in the state. Currently, 60 to 70,000 samples are being tested daily. Contact tracing is also a major reason for the improvement in the situation of coronavirus infection in the state. We have a report.
In order to prevent the spread of corona infection in Chhattisgarh, contact tracing is being done on a large scale. For this, more than 12,000 officers and employees have been deployed. In all the districts, information is being gathered by contact tracing teams about the people who come in close contact with the people found positive. If any COVID symptoms have been seen in these people, then corona test is being done. Such people are given medicine kit and they are also being advised to stay in home isolation. Attempts are made to identify people exposed to the corona positive person within 48 to 72 hours so as to help break the chain of corona infection. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
The Sikkim government has announced a complete lockdown in the state from 5 a.m. on the 17th of this month to curb the rising COVID-19 cases. The lockdown will continue till 5 a.m. on the 24th of May. The decision was taken as the state was reporting case positivity rate of more than 20% over the last few weeks. In Manipur, 726 people, including 10 personnel from the Central Armed Police Forces, have been tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. 381 COVID-19 patients were discharged from hospitals yesterday.
Bihar is witnessing a decline in fresh COVID-19 cases. The state's recovery rate has improved to about 85.63%, while the test positivity rate has declined to 6.91%. Over 5,49,000 people have recovered from the infection so far. 7,494 fresh cases of COVID-19 were reported in the state during the last 24 hours, while 14,131 people recovered yesterday. The Odisha government has constituted a state-level committee in view of the reported rise in incidence of mucormycosis, which is a fungal complication being detected in COVID-19 patients. The committee will monitor the incidences of mucormycosis in patients admitted to different hospitals in the state and also to formulate guidelines for early detection and management of such cases. More from our Bhubaneswar correspondent.
Mucormycosis, otherwise known as black fungus, is reported to be on the rise in the state, both among COVID-19 patients under treatment and also among patients in the post-COVID period. While the state-level committee will devise ways for early detection and management of such cases, all government medical colleges in the state have also been asked to constitute expert committees at their level, along with facilities for detection and management of cases of black fungus. Meanwhile, the state's COVID-19 active caseload has climbed further to 104,016 with a detection of 12,390 positive cases, a single-day record in itself during the last 24 hours. Girish Chandradas, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Andhra Pradesh government has ordered to set up RT-PCR testing centres for COVID-19 at all airports in the state. Now, the COVID test is mandatory for international travellers coming into the state. The Andhra Pradesh government has issued state-level quarantine guidelines as per the directions of the Airport Authority of India. While Maharashtra, along with the nation, is battling the second phase COVID-19, a new threat called mucormycosis, a black fungus, is looming over the corona survivors and the patients undergoing COVID-19 treatment. With an estimated 2,000 cases of black fungus reported in the state till now, the government has taken a series of measures to take control of the situation. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
With unspecified number of deaths due to black fungus and an estimated current 2,000 cases of the disease, Maharashtra Health Department has decided to create a separate database for cases of mucormycosis primarily been found in COVID-19 patients to assess its actual spread and how to tackle it. State Health Minister Rajesh Tope had earlier said Maharashtra reported approximately 1,500 cases of mucormycosis or black fungus from 12th to 13th May. Meanwhile, Wardha-based Genetic Life Sciences in Maharashtra has received FDA approval to make amphotericin B injection for treating black fungus infection, and its production will begin in 15 days. Genetic Life Sciences will produce 20,000 injections per day, and it will be available for 1,200 rupees. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
Karnataka Health and Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar visited the Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO yesterday and held an interaction on the availability of 2-deoxy-D-glucose medicine, also known as 2DG, which has been developed by the DRDO. The drug is said to deny the COVID virus the energy to multiply. The minister met DRDO Director Manjula J and sought details on the proposed makeshift hospital and oxygen plant to be set up by the organization. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
The 2DG drug developed by DRDO could be a game changer in the battle against the pandemic. The clinical trials of this drug have shown that it resulted in faster recovery of COVID critical patients and reduced dependency on oxygen. The Drugs Controller General of India and Central Drugs Standard Control Organization had permitted the phase 2 clinical trial of 2DG in May last year. In November last year, phase 3 clinical trial was permitted. The trial showed that patients improved symptomatically and their dependency on oxygen reduced in 3 days. On May 1st this year, DCGI granted permission for the emergency use of 2DG that comes in powder form in sachets and taken orally by dissolving in water. It was found that the drug accumulates in the virus-infected cells and prevents the virus from multiplying. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says centre and all state governments together making continuous efforts to ensure maximum people get vaccinated at rapid pace. Government fighting COVID-19 with all its might, assures Prime Minister. Over 18 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Country's cumulative recoveries exceed 2 crore mark. Nearly 7,900 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by the railways to various states in the last 20 days. Government expands free distribution drive of Ayush 64 medicine to 25 locations in Delhi. India and the United States agree to work towards increasing COVID-19 vaccine availability and saving lives. Monsoon likely to arrive over Kerala on the 31st of this month. Deep depression over the Arabian Sea likely to further intensify into a severe cyclonic storm in the next 24 hours. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal to face Riley Opelka in men's singles semi-finals of Italian Open today. In women's singles, Karolina Pliskova to take on Petra Martic for a place in the finals. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held a virtual meeting with U.S. Trade Representative Ambassador Catherine Tai and discussed measures to enhance COVID-19 vaccine production. The meeting that took place yesterday focused on increasing vaccine availability in an inclusive and equitable manner to combat the global pandemic caused by COVID-19. The proposal of India on waiver of certain trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights provisions to increase global vaccine production to take on the challenges of vaccinating the poorest of the poor and saving lives were also discussed. Mr. Goyal mentioned that the supply chains for the vaccine manufacturers must be kept open and unbridled, as the entire world is in dire need of vaccines. Both sides agreed to work towards the common resolve of increasing vaccine availability and saving lives.
India Meteorological Department IMD has said that this year onset of the southwest monsoon over Kerala is expected on the 31st of this month. IMD in a statement said the forecast comes with a model error deviation of 4 days. Generally, the normal date for the monsoon onset over the state is the 1st of June. The IMD said in the Indian monsoon region, initial monsoon rains are experienced over South Andaman Sea and the monsoon winds will advance in northwestwards across the Bay of Bengal. As per the new normal dates of monsoon onset, the southwest monsoon advances over the Andaman Sea around the 22nd of May. Cyclone Tokte, which lay as a deep depression over Lakshadweep area and adjoining southeast and east central Arabian Sea, is very likely to further intensify into a severe cyclonic storm in the next 24 hours, bringing heavy to very heavy rain to many parts of the western coast. It is very likely to move north-northwestwards and reach near Gujarat coast by morning of the 18th of this month. India Meteorological Department IMD has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfalls at isolated places in Lakshadweep today and heavy rainfall at isolated places tomorrow. In Kerala, heavy to very heavy rainfalls are likely to occur at a few places today and heavy to very heavy falls at isolated places tomorrow and day after. Tamil Nadu is also likely to witness heavy to very heavy falls at isolated places today, while Karnataka is expected to experience light to moderate rainfall at most places, with heavy to very heavy falls at a few places, with extremely heavy falls at isolated places today and heavy falls at isolated places tomorrow. In Gujarat, light to moderate rainfalls at many places with heavy falls at isolated places, very likely over coastal districts of Saurashtra tomorrow, while at most places with heavy to very heavy falls at a few places on the 17th of this month. On the 18th of this month, heavy to very heavy falls at a few places, extremely heavy falls at isolated places over Saurashtra and Kutch is likely to occur. The sea condition over East Central Arabian Sea will be high to very high today and tomorrow, and over Northeast Arabian Sea from the 17th of this month. It will be rough to very rough over Comoran area and along and off the Kerala coast today. Talking to All India Radio News, IMD DG Dr. Mrityunjay Mohapatra said,
which is centered over Arabian Sea, about 1,050 kilometers south of Biraval of Gujarat, is expected to move north-northwestward and reach near Gujarat coast by 18th morning. So its impact will be maximum on Gujarat and Diu on 18th, with heavy to very heavy rainfall at a few places. Heavy rainfall, especially over Saurashtra Kutch area, wind speed will be 150 to 160 kilometers per hour. The sea condition is very much disturbed. It is high to very high. So fishermen have been advised not to venture into sea. We are monitoring the cyclone every 3 hours.
Heavy rain continues to lash Kerala as cyclone Tokte is nearing the state coast. The Meteorological Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall with strong winds in Kerala till the 16th of this month. Red alert has been issued in 5 districts. Widespread sea erosions have been reported in the coastal areas of the state. Electricity is disrupted in many places. People in coastal regions are being shifted to relief camps. Districts' control rooms have been opened. National and state disaster response forces, naval and coast guards are coordinating the relief measures. The mortal remains of the woman from Kerala who was killed in rocket attacks from Gaza earlier this week arrived at Delhi airport this morning. Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan received the mortal remains. He, along with Israel's Deputy Envoy Ronnie Yedidia Klein, also paid floral tributes. Changpa is a nomadic community of pastoralists living in the Changthang Plateau of Ladakh region. They raise yaks, sheep and cows and shift their locations with season depending on the availability of grass and water. Most of their campsites are situated at altitudes well above 10,000 feet, sometimes as high as 15,000 feet. In the series, as part of Golden Jubilee celebration of AIR Lash services, our correspondent has filed this report on lifestyle of nomads.
Radio is a part of nomads' life. Non-expensive and portable radio is the only source of information when they are grazing animals in pockets of green pastures in the Himalayas. Nomadic people move according to the weather forecast. Apart from that, the nomads also get information from All India Radio about education for their children, different farming methods, and the entertainment of local music. Nomadic people are now aware about the climate changes in their region. Climate change is affecting their traditional lifestyle. Untimely snow or little rain are showing adverse effects on fodder's availability and livestock rearing. Ever since Ladakh became Union territory, livestock given priority and several welfare measures including exclusive fodder land are planned. Insurance schemes for the cattle are now popular and saving the nomadic people from adversities. Chetan Tashif, AIR News from Durbuk, Changthang.
Now moving over to sports. In tennis, 9-time champion Rafael Nadal will face American Riley Opelka in the men's singles semi-finals of the Italian Open today. Second seed Nadal of Spain defeated 6th seed Alexander Zverev of Germany in straight sets 6-3, 6-4 in the quarterfinals. This match was of particular significance for Nadal as he was defeated by the German in straight sets last week in Madrid. Rafael Nadal is chasing his 10th title in Rome this year and is just 2 more wins away from entering the double figures. He is also 2 wins away from equaling Novak Djokovic's record of 36 ATP Masters 1000 titles. In women's singles, former Rome champion Karolina Pliskova will face Croatia's Petra Martic today for a place in the finals. The 9th seed Czech Pliskova entered into the semi-finals after defeating former French Open champion Helena Ostapenko of Latvia 4-6, 7-5, 7-6 in the last 8 match yesterday.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 25 and 39 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 26 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be around 32. Chennai will also have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 29 and 37 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of development of thunder lightning. The minimum temperature was 26, maximum 36. Jammu will also have a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Srinagar may experience partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Temperature will hover between 11 and 23 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 12 and 32 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The minimum temperature was 17 and the maximum will be around 28 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Asian Age headline quotes the Prime Minister as saying virus threats to rural India center on war footing. The Indian Express quotes him as saying India will fight and win. Sputnik V arrives in market, each imported dose for ₹995, headlines at the Tribune. Covishield and Covaxin are less effective against B1.617 strain, reports The Hindu. Delhi sees less than 10,000 cases for the first time in over a month, headlines The Times of India. An interview in The Statesman with a virologist carried in The Statesman reveals that the third wave is a distinct possibility if the majority is not vaccinated in India. And the Hindustan Times carries a photograph of the night sky in Israel and the Gaza Strip lit up with rockets under the caption Fire and Fury in the Middle East.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says centre and all state governments together making continuous efforts to ensure maximum people get vaccinated at rapid pace. Government fighting COVID-19 with all its might, assures Prime Minister. Over 18 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Country's cumulative recoveries exceed 2 crore mark. Nearly 7,900 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by railways to various states in last 20 days. Government expands free distribution drive of Ayush 64 medicine to 25 locations in Delhi. India and the United States agree to work towards increasing COVID-19 vaccine availability and saving lives. Monsoon likely to arrive over Kerala on 31st of this month. Deep depression over the Arabian Sea likely to further intensify into severe cyclonic storm in the next 24 hours. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal to face Riley Opelka in men's singles semi-finals of Italian Open today. In women's singles, Karolina Pliskova take on Petra Markic for a place in the finals. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on Air app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.